Oh, welcome. Welcome to Crazy Town. That's about right. That fits us well.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So today, actually, we do have a very serious topic today, even though we're being a little giddy. That's just our nature, you know, the serious and the silly. That's life, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what you got when you have us, right?
Yeah.
So you have a very special song to share with us today.
Yeah, I do. It's called The Suitcase, and it's about forgiveness and relationships, and I don't know, I don't want to give too much of it away.
It's a tearjerker.
It's a tearjerker.
And I think it's important that you let people know that you wrote this song.
Yeah, I wrote this song about my relationship with my dad, who I love very, very, very much. And I'm thankful to still have him as the date of this video that we're doing. Thankful that I have a good relationship with him, that I love him and he loves me. And
well, you worked through the mess and you got to the forgiveness piece, which brings peace and brings healing and restoration in a relationship. So, and that's, you know, that's what the song's about. And so let's give a listen.
Me and Daddy used to spend our days traveling the world with that old suitcase. We'd start our journey and away we'd go, letting our imaginations flow. Paris, France, Italy, didn't matter much to me, just as long as it was Dad and me together. We take my stuffed dog Snoopy along for the ride, and we'd be flying high. But you can't stuff life in a small suitcase, and that's one memory I can't erase. Is Daddy taking that bag, walking out of our lives. It's hard to be grown at the age of 9, see how quick life can turn on a dime. But one thing that I know, Daddies shouldn't go. God, I learned in Sunday school about praying. Teacher said it's just like talking to a friend. And I guess from way up there you saw Daddy come believing, and he'll be staying at the Holiday Inn. Something's very wrong here, God, and I don't understand. That's why I'm asking you. Oh God, bring back Daddy. Make sure he brings that old suitcase too. Spent a lot of years trying to hide my pain and seek relief in all the same familiar and destructive places. I lugged my bag around year after year, full of guilt and pain and tears, until finally I broke and prayed, God, take it. People make mistakes, and as sure as I live, we can't move on unless we move to forgive. Forgive. But one day Dad called and his voice was low, and I knew his time was close, and a tear fell down my cheek with every word. He said, Can't stuff life in a small suitcase, and there's something that I've needed to face. I'm sorry for what I've done. Can you forgive me, hon? God, I learned in Sunday school about praying. Teacher said it's just like talking to a friend. And I guess from way up there you saw Daddy coming, and he'll be staying with you in heaven. Everything's alright here, God, 'cause we did what you said. We let your love shine through. Oh God, you can keep my daddy. You can keep that old suitcase too. Oh God, you can keep my daddy. And you can keep that old suitcase too.
So what'd you think? This one really got me.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets me too. I played
I
it this
bet.
morning practicing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, none of us are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as parents, we try to do the best that we can, and sometimes we get sidetracked. And you know, as when I became a parent, I really understood that in a new way. And both of my parents would say, honey, when you get to be a parent,
Oh yeah.
you will understand. Did you get that talk too?
Oh yeah.
And so I just wanted to write a song that would kind of encapsulate and encourage
Mm-hmm.
people if they have not taken that step, if there's a forgiveness and they
Right.
are still hanging on to the bitterness
Mm-hmm.
like it's a trophy. It's not. It's a noose.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have some thoughts to share
I
on
do,
that.
and forgiveness can put you in a position where you're stuck.
yeah,
Because until you work through what it is that's bothering you, you can stay stuck. And then being stuck and not working through it brings that bitterness, and you know, that's not good for anybody.
Mm-mm.
That's not good for you, and it's not going to be good for any future relationships or the people around you, because
right.
bitterness is like poison, and it's toxic, and it just filters out to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, forgiveness is the key to having peace.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all want peace. I think
Yes.
that's a goal for every human being, that we desire and want peace. The problem is we go about finding peace in ways that are not productive or helpful,
Or short term.
or short term. That's a good point. And you know, my thoughts are that forgiveness can only be brought about with the Lord's help.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
True forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just words. It's a process. And that process involves acknowledging your hurt,
Mm-hmm.
working through the pain, allowing God to bring the healing, and then releasing not the other person, but yourself, by speaking those words. I forgive you.
Yeah.
And for some, that is the hardest words to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, they think they're going to lose something.
Yeah, and it's not about losing anything.
Mm-mm.
And you don't lose any power by saying, I forgive you. And in addition to that, forgiveness is not saying, what you did was okay. It's not it's not overlooking the hurt or the pain.
Right.
It's not saying that this doesn't matter, or that it doesn't matter anymore. You know, the hurt needs to be acknowledged through you and the Lord and worked through. But that forgiveness piece, like I said, it can keep you stuck, but it also can keep you in a prison of bitterness and unforgiveness that only you have the key to let yourself out of by speaking those words. Forgiveness is about healing yourself and releasing yourself from that bondage. And important to remember too that when you forgive somebody, doesn't mean that you have to enter right back into that relationship where you were.
Right.
That you can set some healthy boundaries and guidelines for a new relationship. And there are times where we can't have a relationship with that person, but the forgiveness still needs to happen.
Yeah.
Especially for you. I mean, I do think it's important to do that for others, to give that grace. But it really falls heavy, I think, on you, releasing.
Yeah.
You release the other person, but you release all that hurt and pain that comes with it.
And you know what I found out is if I forgive truly from my heart, that that eventually that emotion that was behind all that anger or that hurt, it just kind of subsides, you know, and it isn't like in the back of my head every time I see this person or talk to this person, you know, it just subsides, you know, and it's almost like a wave of grace just kind of comes over your heart and your mind.
So how do you know if you've forgiven? If you've said the words, and as I stated earlier, it's not just stating the words.
Right.
It's about how you feel about that person is really where you can understand if forgiveness has happened. So if you say, I forgive you, but then every time I see you,
you're gritting your teeth.
Gritting my teeth, and I'm feeling those hurtful feelings, then the process isn't complete yet. And for some things, it's a matter of, I forgive you. You took the last cup of coffee this morning, but you know what, girl? It's all good. I'll give you some grace. But there's other pain, like this song speaks of, that's hurt, and it's years of hurt.
Yeah.
And that takes some time to unpack.
Yeah.
And just like you talked about the luggage, carrying it around from place to place, that's what that bitterness looks like. It's, you know, everywhere you go, you're taking this heavy load with you because you can't release yourself from it.
Right.
Because forgiveness hasn't happened.
Right.
So how do we forgive? You know, the Bible instructs us to forgive, and in Mark 12, verse 25, it says, when you are praying, first forgive the one that you're holding a grudge against, so that your Father in heaven will forgive your sins too.
That's big.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, one time I was in a desperate place, praying for one of my kiddos who'd been bullied and hurt at school, and I was just crying out to God, how did this happen? How could you let this happen? How did I let this happen?
Yeah.
You know, and all those things that we do to kind of point the finger, which doesn't get you anywhere, but we do it. And just hearing the Lord say, you know, look what happened to my son. Oh.
Yeah.
And here's the truth. You know, I really feel like the Lord was not overlooking my pain, but instead teaching me that in this life there's hurt and there's pain and there's betrayal. And look at Jesus. Jesus was perfect in every way, but they accused him of being the devil himself. They ridiculed him, they beat him, they spat on him, and he died in the most gruesome way that anyone could, as a criminal, even though he was free from sin. And, we don't understand how hurt can come on our kids and why we can't protect them and why God can't protect them from it. And that's hard. It's hard to deal with. But, if I want the Lord to forgive my kids, then I have to be willing to forgive others. I want that forgiveness applied to them. And I want that forgiveness applied to me. I want that grace that says, come here, let me hold you, and it's going to be okay. But yet when it comes to our enemies or people who hurt us, we want to say, nope.
No grace for you.
No grace for you, because let me just tell you what this did to me. Let me just tell you how this impacted me. Your feelings, express your feelings to the Lord, share what that pain looks like and how it feels, and then ask God. I know that your word says that we should forgive. Help me to forgive. Help me, Lord, to let go of this pain and to see them through your eyes and see your perspective. Help me, Lord, to release myself from this bitterness and release them from this, this accusation. Lord, let me love like you, live like you. And then, sometimes there's been a couple of things that I have done to help work through forgiveness. And one is writing. Writing a letter to the person that's hurt you. Doesn't make sense how something like that can be so powerful, but it can.
It really is.
And I can tell you from experience, I have wrote an 8-page letter in red ink.
Ooh.
And the red ink really gave it that extra punch. But when I was...
You meant it.
Oh,
red
yes.
ink. Yeah.
And when you do that, you give yourself... I gave myself permission to say whatever came to my heart. And these things I would never say in front of the person. But it was good. It freed me. It brought a lot of those toxic feelings out of me. And I never sent the letter. I ripped it up when I was done, but it did make a big difference.
That's real helpful. I know in Celebrate Recovery, that's what we call a 4th step. And so those that have wronged us or that we have wronged, we write that letter. And I know when I went through that, that really helped. And of course you share it with your sponsor. And, and there's something about saying it out loud. Reading that letter out loud. That kind of, helps you to release it. And of course all of this is through the grace of God. That you can forgive those that have hurt you. And that you can receive forgiveness of those that we have hurt.
Well, don't we all want a voice? When somebody's hurt us, we want them to know you've hurt me. And
we want a megaphone.
Voice.
Hey, you! Get over here!
Yes, exactly. So what you said about reading it out loud gives a voice to it. It gives some emphasis behind it. To say this is important. You
can't just sweep this one under the carpet.
No. So God has provided a way for us to forgive. He's modeled it. Which is very important to know that he walked this path before us, showed us the way, and he did, the teaching is to forgive, but that's for our benefit. It's for our benefit. And you do feel freer and lighter when you can get to that point where you really do forgive and that you don't have those feelings anymore. But be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself and know that it takes time.
And get a trusted friend. That you can perhaps share that.
I think that's good too. Share the letter, but then also somebody that allows you just to speak freely and that they don't judge you. Because everything that we say doesn't need to go under a microscope. But we want to make sure we're in a trusted relationship that they know that you're just venting. And that sometimes we just need to get those things, up and out of us. Because when things that hide in the darkness, they can do a lot of damage, and when we bring things to the light, then God can help us and heal us and restore us. So that's what we have for you today. I hope you'll check us out on more of our videos on our Devo, and this was a good one. I enjoyed this. This is a good word and a good, a great song, and I appreciate you sharing your heart with us through song. Song is so healing in itself.
Yeah, it is. And I used to go to Branchville and correctional institution and share this with the guys there, and they could so relate, because a lot of us have great relationships with our fathers, and then some of us not so great, and then some people don't even know who their father is.
That's right.
So, but God is our perfect Heavenly Father, and we can get the love that we need directly from Him. And that can help us love and forgive those that hurt us.
Yeah, well, so. There is a concept that is taught that if you have issues with your father, that you can perceive those same issues with your Heavenly Father.
Right.
So it's hard to imagine that somebody can love us fully, completely, knowing everything about us, and that someone can love us perfectly, because that we don't get that anywhere else.
Right.
So understanding God's character through reading His Word will help you see who God is to you and what He wants to do for you and how much He loves you. And then when we accept that, it's easier for us to forgive others and walk in that grace, because we have the perfect love we need already.
See you next time, and we'll be back with another song and another demo and another Devo.
Devo.
So love.